What's up, everybody? This is James. Today's video, I'm going to be kind of stepping out of my usual food reviews, restaurant reviews, stuff like that, and talk about something that might actually be useful to you guys. As you guys know, um, it's a crazy political landscape right now. There's a lot of changes that are coming, especially within the healthcare space. Some of you guys may have seen on the news all this information about changes coming to Medicaid. Medicaid is a federally run program. It's essentially a healthcare program for low income individuals and certain other eligible individuals. Here in California, or at least where I live, it's called Medi-Cal. Okay, Medi-Cal is the California run version of Medicaid, which is a federal program. Medi-Cal is a California program. Now, Medi-Cal is partially funded by the federal government and partially funded by matching dollars from the state of California. We're fortunate that we're in California because here in California, we essentially provide free to low cost healthcare for everybody who resides here. That's including the undocumented population, which we're going to call UIS, which stands for Unsatisfactory Immigration Status. That is the official term that's used by the federal, state, and local government. And there are changes that are coming starting January of 2026 of next year, and then changes that are going to go all the way into 2028. Now, the information that we have now, and you guys may have seen it over the internet, is that changes are coming mostly in 2026 and 2027. 2028 changes are there, but we're not going to talk about that today. So there's going to be 7 major changes that are coming starting January of next year. All the way until the end of 2027, and that's what we're going to talk about today. The first one is asset limits. Okay. Now there was currently they don't look at assets, but in January 1 of 2026, when you apply to renew your Medi-Cal and you report your income and your assets and all these things, this is going to affect you. So let's see. It's called an asset check. Assets are things that you own that have value, and this asset limit change is going to apply if you are age 65 and older and meet the household income limit for Medi-Cal. If you have a disability, physical, mental, or developmental, live in a nursing home, or are in a family that makes too much money to qualify under the federal tax rules. Important things to know: the most you can own asset limit is $130,000 for one person. And you're going to add $65,000 for every extra person in your family. The maximum is 10 people. Assets that count include bank accounts, cash, more than one house or vehicle. So the house that you live in and the car that you drive are not going to count. Assets that are not included in the asset test are the home you live in, one vehicle, household items, some savings like retirement accounts. If you have Medi-Cal, we look at your assets every year when you renew. Now, we're going to talk about renewals a little bit later in this video, but currently, Medi-Cal recertification or renewals, whatever you want to call it, happens once a year. Pretty soon, it's going to be required twice a year. Okay, so that's another paperwork obstacle that everybody on Medi-Cal is going to have to go through. The second thing that I want to talk about today is enrollment freeze, and I believe this is going to be have the largest impact, especially on our undocumented immigration status, UIS population here in California. So starting January 1st of 2026, some adults will no longer be able to sign up for full scope Medi-Cal coverage based on their immigration status. As I said before, UIS, undocumented, unsatisfactory immigration status. Who this applies to: you may be affected if you are undocumented, you live in the U.S. without legal permission, or you are lawfully present, or you are a lawfully present immigrant who is 21 or older and not pregnant. So just to give you guys a big picture view of Medi-Cal and Medicaid, they love young people and they love pregnant people. Anybody in between, I'll be honest, you're shit out of luck, okay, for lack of a better term. Couple things that are important to know: if you already have Medi-Cal, you can stay covered no matter your immigration status. To keep your Medi-Cal, you must fill out the renewal form every year, still meet the Medi-Cal rules like income and living in California. So Medi-Cal, just a quick tangent, In order to be eligible for California Medi-Cal, you have to either live or intend on living in California. Okay, and of course the income limits still apply. You also use your benefits and renew on time. If you don't, your Medi-Cal could end. If your Medi-Cal ends, you have 90 days or 3 months to fix a problem and keep your coverage. If you miss that 90-day window, you won't be able to get full scope Medi-Cal again. You can only apply for restricted Medi-Cal, which covers emergency care, pregnancy-related care, nursing home care. Who can still get full scope Medi-Cal? Children under the age of 19. Like I said, Medi-Cal likes minors. So if you're under the age of 19, you can still get full scope Medi-Cal as an undocumented immigrant. Pregnant people are also qualified for full scope Medi-Cal. And then you must still meet all Medi-Cal rules like income and living in California, like I mentioned earlier. Pregnancy coverage lasts through your whole pregnancy and up to 1 year after it ends. So enrollment freeze starting January 1st of next year, undocumented immigrants will no longer be able to apply for full scope Medi-Cal. They will get emergency Medi-Cal, but not full scope. Full scope includes dental, vision, and all these things, but it does not include, limited scope Medi-Cal eliminates dental, vision, and pretty much primary care. Okay, you can go to the emergency room if you get shot, they'll take care of you, but anything other than that, like follow-ups, it's all going to be out of pocket. All right. Dental coverage. This is a big one. Starting in July 1st of 2026, some Medi-Cal members will stop getting full scope dental services or reduced scope coverage as part of their coverage due to changes in state law. Now, this dental coverage one, the enrollment freeze that I spoke about, that's a federal law. That's coming from Department of Medicaid and Medicare Services. The dental coverage one is coming from a state. That's a state law that's changing. All right, this applies to Medi-Cal members who are aged 19 or older, are not pregnant or postpartum, and are lawfully present immigrants who have had a green card or for less than 5 years and are not exempt from the 5-year waiting period, are classified as PRUCL, permanently residing under the color of law, qualified through a state-funded expansion or humanitarian program, example for victims of trafficking or crime, have another immigration status, does not qualify for full scope Medi-Cal under federal law. Important to know, if this change applies to you, you'll get all full scope Medi-Cal services except for non-emergency dental services. You can still get care for urgent dental needs, including serious tooth pain, infections, tooth extractions. You will also get full scope dental if you're pregnant. You will get it for 1 year after your pregnancy ends. Your immigration status does affect pregnancy-related dental coverage. Okay. All right. Monthly premiums. So even if you are UIS, as long as you apply before January 1st of 2026, before the enrollment freeze, you will continue to maintain your full scope Medi-Cal in California, even if you're undocumented. However, starting July 1st of 2027, some Medi-Cal members will need to pay a small monthly fee called a premium to keep their full scope Medi-Cal. Who this applies to: Californians who are between 19 and 59 years old and are not pregnant and are lawfully present immigrants, and have had a green card for less than 5 years and don't qualify for an exception, are classified as PRUCL, permanently residing under the color of law, a type of immigration status that allows you to stay in the U.S. but doesn't qualify for full federal benefits. Or you're qualified through a state-funded or humanitarian program, like for victims of trafficking or crime, have another immigration status, does not qualify for full Medi-Cal under federal rules. It's important to know, if this change applies to you, you will need to pay a small fee each month to keep your Medi-Cal. If you don't pay, your Medi-Cal will change. You will only get restricted Medi-Cal, which covers emergency care, pregnancy-related care, nursing home care. All right, another change. Work volunteer requirements. You may have heard this before. Starting in January 1st of 2027, so not next year, but the following year, some adults will need to work or volunteer to keep or get Medi-Cal. If this applies to you, the county Medi-Cal office will send you a letter. Who this applies to: Medi-Cal members and people applying for Medi-Cal who are aged 19 to 64 years old and don't meet any of the exemptions listed directly below. These are the exemptions. These new work or volunteer rules do not apply to children 0 through 18, adults older than 65, pregnant people, including 1 year postpartum, regardless of birth outcome. So even if you have a miscarriage, actually, I think miscarriage and abortions apply as well. This does not apply to you. Parents with children 13 years of age or younger, people with disabilities, people with serious health or mental conditions or substance abuse problems, people who are released from jail or prison within the last 90 days, people on Medicare Part A or Part B, American Indians or Alaska Natives, foster youth or former foster youth under age 26. That list contains people who are not required or do not have the 20-hour per week work requirement. Okay, members must do one or more of the following: work at a job and get paid, earn at least $580 a month from working. Be a seasonal worker, someone who only works during certain times of the year and make an average of $580 a month for over the last 6 months. Be in a job training program that helps you learn skills to get a job for at least 80 hours per month. Volunteer or do community service for at least 80 hours per month. This should be organized as something you can prove you did with a letter or a form. Go to school at least half of the time. This usually means taking 2 or 3 classes or about 6 to 8 credits each semester. Do a mix of the things listed above for a total of at least 80 hours per month. If you are required to work or volunteer under these new rules and do not meet these rules, you could lose your Medi-Cal. When you get a letter from Medi-Cal, open it right away and respond quickly to show how you are meeting the work rules. Medi-Cal will send more information before this rule starts, including ways to help you meet the rules. All right, another change. New recertification renewal rules. I think I talked about this earlier. Starting January 1st of 2027, some Medi-Cal members will have their eligibility checked twice a year instead of once. This applies to people who are aged 19 to 64 and don't have children younger than age 19. Okay, so if you're 1964 and you don't have children under the age of 19, you will have to do recertifications or renewals, Medi-Cal renewals, twice a year instead of once. Okay. You will be asked to renew your Medi-Cal every 6 months. You could lose your coverage if you don't fill out forms completely or turn them in on time. Always read your mail from Medi-Cal and respond quickly. Now, this rule is an issue because not only are we going... So once we have the enrollment freeze, UIS population will not be eligible for full scope Medi-Cal. You can't apply unless you were already grandfathered in before the law takes place on January 1st, 2026. But once you are grandfathered in and go into 2026, you need to start renewing. Every time they send you a mail every 6 months, you have to make sure that you fill it out and turn it in on time. They'll give you a 90-day grace period just in case you forget or you lose the mail. But once that 90-day grace period is over and you still have not turned in your recertification, you're going to be dropped or disenrolled from Medi-Cal and you'll never be able to reapply for full scope Medi-Cal again. So that's why that's important. Okay. Medi-Cal will pay less past medical bills. Starting January 1st of 2027, Medi-Cal will only pay for fewer months of medical bills from before you applied. Medi-Cal members who enrolled January 1st, 2027 or after, ages 19 to 64 years old, and don't have children younger than age 19. If this applies to you, Medi-Cal will send you a letter. Right now, Medi-Cal can help pay for bills up to 3 months before you applied. Under the new rule, if you are 19 to 64 years old without children younger than age 19 or a higher income parent of children younger than age 19, Medi-Cal will only pay for 1 month of past bills. For everyone else, Medi-Cal will pay up to 2 months of past bills. Okay. Co-payments. Starting October 1st of 2028, some adults on Medi-Cal may have to pay a small fee called a co-payment for certain healthcare services. The Department of Healthcare Services will provide more information as it becomes available. This applies to Medi-Cal members who are 19 to 64 years old and are not pregnant and are not on Medicare and make more than $15,560 a year. Okay, so it doesn't apply to everybody, but if you make more than $15,560 a year, you will have to pay a co-payment, which I believe right now is going to be $30 a month. It's not a deal breaker and it's not crazy, but it's still money. You might have to pay a small fee for some healthcare, like seeing a special doctor, like a cardiologist or a dermatologist, and getting certain treatments or tests. You will not pay more than 5% of your household income in co-payments each year. You won't have to pay for services at community health centers or rural health clinics, emergency care, regular checkups, prenatal care, or pediatric care, mental health and substance use disorder treatment. Okay, so that's the end of what I wrote down. It's, 7 basic changes that are coming starting January of this coming year until 2027, and like I said, there will be changes coming in 2028 that I'm not going to get into. But the important thing to know now, or right now, is we have the rest of October, which is 2 weeks, November, December. So we have about 2.5 months to get all of our ducks in a row. If you belong in the UIS population, which many Californians, especially in Los Angeles, belong to, you need to apply for Medi-Cal now. The reason why I say that is because just because you apply today doesn't mean you're going to be found eligible today, and it doesn't mean that your application is going to be approved by next week. California Medi-Cal, their official timeline from application to approval or denial is 30 to 45 days. Now, we all know that oftentimes the government does not fulfill their promise of, application wait times and all these things. So worst case scenario, let's say you're going to wait 2 months, 60 days. If you apply now, that means you could get approved or denied. Today is October 15th. You could get approved by December 15th, which leaves 16 days until the end of the year. And the next day, January 1st of 2026, that's when the enrollment freeze is going to start. So I think it's going to be too late if you apply later than sooner. So my suggestion would be, if you are income eligible, and you are if you are uninsured and you cannot afford things like Covered California, where there is a small premium, let alone private insurance, right now is the time for you to get eligible for Medi-Cal benefits, which is essentially free healthcare for you and your family as long as you're found eligible. So, hopefully I'll be able to make some more videos that go into more in-depth detail about the specificity of all these 7 rules. But for now, what you need to know is, if you are uninsured and you don't have health insurance, pretty much we live in a state right now that provides health care for anybody who resides here. So please go ahead and apply. You can apply through the website benefitscal.com. That's BENEFITSCAL. BENEFITSCAL.com. Make a profile. You have to add your personal information. You have to add your income, some household information. But it'll literally take 30 minutes. Okay, and then you guys can find out if you're approved or not in 30 to 45 days, max 60 days. Once you get that done, they will send you a letter saying that you are approved or denied for whatever reason. Once they send you that, you're going to receive something called a healthcare options form, HCO for short. Basically allows you to choose the health plan of your choice. In Los Angeles, we have healthcare companies like HealthNet, Molina, LA Care, and then you also have an option to select who your primary care provider is. According to whoever doctor you want to see, if you have a preference for, you can go to your healthcare plan's website and do a directory search of what types of by location, by language is spoken. There's a lot of options out there. So I don't want to get too into the details of it, but benefitscal.com, make a profile, apply for Medi-Cal while you can, because once January of 2026 comes around, even if you want to, you'll no longer be able to apply as a new applicant. So good luck. If you guys have any questions, please drop some in the comments and I will answer it as best I can. Take care.